It's all the way live. Saturday Night Live. Yeah, yeah. Good evening, Turtle Island and Marika. We're back. Okay. Well, tonight it's the revelation of the divine spark. Let me cut my volume down. Come on. All right. The revelation of the divine spark. Through the power, force, might, and will of the great nothingness of the almighty powers of the great nothingness of almighty flow, the great nothingness of infinite beingness, of infinite, endless, limitless, invisible light from which comes the absolute all that was, all that is, and all that is being and becoming realized into realization, actualization, and form as we all now will and commanded to be, is now being and becoming an active force of higher consciousness and an active force of infinite intelligence within us all now. Being and becoming the great primordial dragon god sun kundalini flames now whirling and ascending up our spines from our root chakra to our central heart chakra, on up to our royal crown chakra, igniting our royal crown chakra, illuminating our first eye, our Lord Amunel Dragra, our hidden priestly grandmaster Magi Dragon God Sun King and Queen, igniting all of the 72 chakras in our first eye, our 72 primordial dragon god sun kings and queens, and all of our legions of 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 armies 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 of armies. Now willing all the forces, all the powers, all the elements, all the essences, dark matter and dark energy and ethers ruling the entire omniverse, earth, and physical and spiritual matrix and heavenly sin to being and becoming all of our will servants, serving all of our will, objectives, intentions, and desires, crystallizing them all into realization, actualization, and form as we all now will and commanded to be. Now, coming down as the unlimited energy and source that we need now to overcome and defeat all of the obstacles in our way, completely dissolving all of our problems, worries, lack, and fears into complete nothingness. Now manifesting into our lives as all of the substance that we need to rebuild our lives into the proper order and law that we will and command and desire our lives to be, as we only affirm the positive abundance in the absolute all, as an eachness of oneness in the absolute all, manifesting into our lives as divine love, perfect health, vitality, the abundance of prosperity in the absolute all, enriching our lives and the lives of all around us, while protecting us from the evil of human deeds, human thoughts and deeds, neutralizing all of our enemies, bringing all out war, judgment, death, and total destruction upon all of the evil of the soulless counterfeit robots and automatons, the walking dead, and their God and Lord, the demiurge, and its archonic forces, enslaving and feeding off of the divine spark, the Kundalini race, and all of the entities and deities aligned against us, enslaving us into grotesque matter to be reborn, live, suffer, and die over and over until now. As it is our time to rise up to conscious unity as they all fall, as all out war, judgment, death, and destruction is upon them all, as we all now will and commanded to be, through the power, force, might, and will of the great nothingness of the almighty powers of the great nothingness of almighty flow. The great nothingness of infinite beingness, of infinite, endless, limitless, invisible life, from which comes the absolute all that was, all that is, and all that is being and becoming realized into realization, actualization, and form as we all now will and commanded to be. Abracadabra, Ashe. Okay. Crown Chakra Day libations. Ain the nothingness, Ashe. Ain soft, the infinite, Ashe. Ain soft or the infinite light, Ashe. Adam Capman, Atik Yaman, the ancient of ancient, the most ancient of days. Arik Yampin, the big face, the primordial Christ, Ashe. Absolute emanations, the supernal holy universe manifesting as our holy divine infinite magical names, the cosmic Christ, Ashe. The great abyss of gnosis manifesting as our crown of Zerampin, the small face, the indwelling Christ. Ashe.
Ashe.
Berea, form, creation, and paradise manifesting in us as our holy, divine, infinite, magical, dark archangels and demons. Ashe. Yetzirah, formation manifesting in us as our holy, divine, infinite, magical orders of dark angels and demons. Ashe. Ashia, the actual physical world in the making, the universe of action, manifesting in us as our holy, divine, infinite, magical, earthly kingdom. Ashe. Yeshida, the holy, divine, infinite, magical spark, manifesting in us as our holy, divine, infinite, magical will. Ashe.
Ashe.
Hea, our holy, divine, infinite, magical life force, manifesting in us as our holy, divine, infinite, magical desire. Ashe.
Ashe.
Neshama, our holy, divine, infinite, magical heavenly soul, manifesting in us as our holy, divine, infinite, magical heavenly thoughts. Ashe.
Ashe.
Ruach, our holy, divine, infinite, magical soul, manifesting in us as our holy, divine, infinite, magical words spoken through us. Ashe. Nephish, our holy, divine, infinite, magical earthly soul, manifesting into realization, actualization, and form as we are now will and commanded to be. Ashe.
Ashe.
Kether, the supernal crown. Ashe. Hakma, wisdom, the supernal father. Ashe.
Ashe.
Bana, understanding and intelligence, the supernal mother. Ashe.
Ashe.
Goth, the great abyss of gnosis. Ashe. Hesed, mercy. Ashe. Gavora, judgment. Ashe. Tiferet, beauty. Ashe. Netz, victory. Ashe. Ha, glory. Ashe. Yasad, foundation. Ashe. Malkut, the kingdom. Ashe. The power, force, might, and will of the great nothingness of the almighty powers of the great nothingness of almighty flow of the cosmic flower, constantly blooming the absolute all into being. Ashe.
Ashe. Isis Ashe. Empress Ashe. Tyler Ashe.
Ashe.
Destiny Ashe.
Ashe.
Chelsea Ashe.
Ashe.
Maine Ashe.
Ashe.
Wanda Ashe.
Ashe.
The Order out of Chaos Beings Ashe.
Ashe.
Beyond Gods Ashe.
Ashe.
Ma'at Ashe.
Ashe.
All gods known and unknown, all goddesses known and unknown. Ashe.
Ashe.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Or get it back.
Yeah. So, man, I just been going through this Moroccan post and studying everything that I can get my hands onto. And the latest thing that I was studying this week and today was ancient biblical jurisdiction.
Yes.
And I wrote a little something that was being studied in the lesson, and I even wrote some of the things they said. And this is regarding the Prophet Muhammad. And it says Prophet Muhammad and the change of the ideology of the world. It's the ancient philosophy of the ancient seers, thousands of years before Muhammad, claimed his seership. Oh, wait. The ancient philosophy of the ancient seers, thousands of years before Muhammad, claims his seership. Prophet Muhammad claimed to be the last prophet ordained by the Supreme Cosmic Mother. Prophet Muhammad claimed is in conflict with the ancient, well settled jurisprudence of the older seers philosophy and revelation. Question: what does Prophet Muhammad's claim means? Answer: okay. Okay. Muhammad claims that his is the last prophet, brings a constructive opinion that takes away the weight of the merit and facts from the seers of the older generations and deprives the nations of the world of the historic principles by not waning weighing on the scales of Ma'at, the seers of modern times. Modern seers must not conflict with the older seers' philosophy and revelations. Prophet Muhammad cut the cord to the ancient seership principles in the minds of the people. Muhammad usurps the foundation principles of any woman or man from becoming a seer during his life and after his death. He destroyed the ancient foundation philosophy of the ancient seers' principles of guiding the people of the various nations that communicated with other nations based on the seers' revelation, wisdom, and knowledge. So they say his seership was rejected. When one says, the moon and the stars and the heavens is my God, my Lord, my Master, my masculine and feminine that created me and everything, gives all honor to that, that's wrong. And the reason why it's wrong is because there's an even higher principle that made that. And you cannot give glory to the lower principle, but to the higher principle and quality of the unseen world when a seer gets ordained and spoken to. Wait, principles. But when a seer gets ordained and spoken to, he knows this principle because he knows how he's being traveled, how he's being dealt with. He knows that the principle dealing with him was the masculine and feminine, which is the mother. It tells, which is the mother. It tells him they may. In other words, it's saying what the seers of the old, the ancient seers, their power was derived from the higher principle, the unknowable God, the ain't soft, ain't soft door, the from the great womb, which created both the masculine and the feminine.
Mm-hmm.
So Muhammad, his claim was his power came from the moon and the sun, and that was the Lord over everything in his principle, which was wrong because there's a God higher. So to practice that or anything similar to that, like Catholicism, would be a major spiritual error, because it does not acknowledge the higher principle that created what created all of this.
So true. And that's kind of what that idea of honor thy father, thy mother, so thy days that belong upon an earth plane.
Hmm.
That's what that principle kind of leads back to. It's like where is the original source, right?
Hmm.
When you trace the source, there also a source, a source that is beyond that source,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
I'll say became before that source.
Hmm.
So and so forth and so on. It's infinite.
Yeah, and to only honor just the first source and disregarding all the sources beyond that is blasphemous. That's
When I say
that.
source, I mean the principle,
Yeah, the principle.
right? The principle, because that in law, the principle is what you always are addressing. You're addressing the principle,
Hmm.
right?
Yes.
And the thing about it is, I don't think people know the dynamics of these relationships, of these polarities. It's a dynamic to the polarity because when the universe, the so-called universe, unshaped, untamed, unbridled. This is what I call multi-potential reality because it ain't. It's chaos.
Hmm.
It's
It can
not.
go either way.
It's not created yet. But the but
Yes.
but the source when the source energy for creation is there. The
Hmm.
potentiality for our creation is there, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
But the thing about that is when you are in that state, order is there too.
Hmm.
Order is there too. It's presence, but it's a unification state, a synchronicity. It's a unification.
Hmm.
That's what we're going to now, where we're going to realize that God is within us, and also we are the God of that original God we was worshiping.
Yeah. Hmm. We're expressing
Gods,
itself.
we were the God of that God. I mean, though I'm talking about the divine spark. I'm not talking about humanity.
Yeah, the divine spark. Yeah, humanity is something that was derived from the gods.
Right? It's a creation of the gods.
Yeah.
Well,
But
it's vice versa because it's that going back to that relationship again. It's this dynamic relationship, man.
hmm.
It's always this reciprocity, the give and take, cause and effect.
Yeah.
You can't get away from that.
No, you
Even
can't. That's
even in the state of singularity, those principles are still present,
mm,
right?
hmm, in divine unity.
Right. This how the universe stays constantly moving
Hmm.
because it's moving under those functionalities of that principle. Reciprocity, always. It's like this whole world can be self-sustainable. You know that, right?
Yeah. It
Meaning
already is.
we don't all this whole idea of scarcity and this whole idea of we don't have enough. That shit is obsolete. Actually, I mean that's because like you saying we're not, and I think it's political. This is where I say
Listen to
when you was reading that, I was like, oh, this is where Muhammad was just bringing in his political agenda.
that. Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? He
Yeah.
brings in the political agenda. When you find out what politics are, it's like blood sucking. It's Apollo, uh, um, um, politics meaning something, sucking something or taking
Parasitic.
from. Parasitic. Yeah. Politics, parasite, they are related.
Yeah.
So blood sucking
Insect.
is a
Yeah,
no
blood
the action of politics is a blood sucking venture.
Oh, okay.
The whole purpose of it is to lead people away from the original principles that they were operating under, and
Mm-hmm.
and give them a principle of scarcity. The scarcity, and we have to monetize, not monetize, but
Conserve.
conserve, and that's what the
Yeah.
whole Green New Deal and all this other stuff was about. But
Mm-hmm.
when we understand the true nature of this universe,
Mm-hmm.
it created itself,
Yeah.
right?
And it's an ongoing process.
Right. It created itself, and it can create itself over and over again as many times as it possibly wants to.
It's constantly in that flux anyway.
Right. So
Yeah.
this is where the concept of free energy is. And some people have some invention. I mean, allegedly, some people have some invention that have utilized this free energy all in the atmosphere.
Yes, I believe they have all of that. But what we don't have is a free humanity.
That's why. This is why. Because humanity is not aware of the abundantness that we have. If they were aware of it, there couldn't be no capitalism. Capitalism is the main source that is the blood sucking mechanism of the. I often have these conversations with people where I say, "What if everything were free?" Do you know how many people say no? Things shouldn't be free. I'm like, why? Why would you want the burden of? And I understand we will have to. It's created an adversity and shit, right? Nah, whatever. It creates an adversity that we have to work to eat, right?
Mm-hmm.
But imagine we didn't have that stress, that adversity, and we could use that energy to do other things.
Well, in this universe that we live in, Ashia, like I said, it's the universe of action. It's the physical world in the making. It's the universe of action. So, for things to manifest here, something has to happen.
I mean, there's always a source to every creation. That I get that. That my point is, we don't have to be in a perpetual cycle like this anymore. We don't. We could have moved. We could have moved, adjusted our thinking process, and moved outside of that cycle and moved on. I mean, we're caught in a cycle because our soul's agenda or the purpose of our soul or whatever. But what if we were more? What if we were advanced enough to comprehend the mechanics of that, and then go into that mechanics, become soul mechanic engineers, right?
Well,
And be able to operate on that level of matter creation or matter antimatter. That show what I was telling you about.
See, you're thinking fifth dimensional. You're not thinking third dimensional, and I get.
Of course, I mean we've already suggested that people broaden their understanding. If you're stuck in three dimensions, you're not going to even understand what we're talking about here.
No, you're not. No.
Right?
Yeah. So what you're talking, it's fifth dimensional and on up. So we, get to the point where we can damn near manifest shit.
No, we do that now. We already doing that.
And we do that now, but we still have to take.
We've been mismanaging it.
We
don't
just
know how
have
to do it properly. The power that be use the fact that we're doing that already. So when people shun magic, when you shun magic and say, "Oh, I don't want to have nothing to do with it," I mean, it's too late. You do magic every day.
Yeah, you already shit. When you pray to the Lord, you're doing magic.
Exactly.
And your
Like,
church,
the whole thing about religion, they don't like you just said. That principle came from an older principle, and well, Muhammad, based on the story, Muhammad cut the umbilical cord to
the
that
biblical
principle.
cord off to the ancient world,
So
and
to
then
the ancient world, you're right. So
and then made it like this is the beginning. It all begins right here and
and
ends
that's the
right here.
politics of it. That's the
Yeah.
politics of it, because if you get the people to recognize that your superior deity is the superior deity, that's political. You know the political ramifications of that?
Oh, it's tremendous.
Tremendous.
You can form a civilization around that. That would be obedient to you. And would get out there and work, since they will manifest and do the work behind it to make it happen.
Right.
And be in accordance with it, be in harmony with it, be down with it.
So manifesting, you know, when they trying to, there's a whole gender war going on there right now, right? And the thing about the gender war is no one recognized our proper position from a masculine and feminine position. You don't understand what that, because why are women so emotional? Why are women so impulsive and more materialistic and superficial? Why are women more intuitive? Why? Because this is who they are. They are more in tune to they are more in tune to signal and sensory perception and all of the known universe and the unknown universe that we're not available to. They're just using it from a mere patriarchy ruling over it perspective, right? Male patriarchy start ruling over the matriarch, and then women start saying that the superior gender is male.
Yeah, and then ruling over that, but at the same time cutting the cord from the ancient shit.
Right. Because the ancient world, there was a complementary way that we operated from masculine and feminine, that we created utopias.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right.
We built cities that they have no way of understanding. How in the hell could you do that?
They just now discovering the function of some of these buildings that they saying, oh, they don't even know where these buildings come from. A lot of them, they were there when they got here. A lot of buildings, they don't even know where the hell these buildings come from.
Because that shit happened in the fifth dimension.
Yep.
In the last golden age, when we were in a higher dimension than we are now.
When the whole universe was in a higher dimension, this whole sector of the universe that we occupy, because it's like we are directly connected. We have a symbiosis with this vibration. We have a symbiosis with the vibration that created all of this, what we call the known universe, right? And when people say manifest, you are directly connected with that resonant frequency that you can manifest anything in this resonant frequency, right? You can manifest anything right now. You just got to tap, and a lot of it comes from right where your heart at, where your head at. Where's your heart at and where your head at? A lot of people heart ain't in the right place to even activate this stuff, man. Your heart got to be in the right place. Because what's your intention? Most people are vibrating below the heart chakra, right? Where it's all rooted, it's all root vibration is all root. So you can't. The energy is. Remember, I talked about cultivating your own energy. This is how you cultivate it, with your mind and your heart. There has to be a marriage between the mind and the heart,
and the root too. And the root too.
I mean, once you get the marriage with the mind and the heart, everything aligns. Everything aligns, because the mind and the heart are like the controlling system of it.
Yes.
right? So if your mind is conflicting with your heart, right, then you're going to have malfunctions in the whole system.
Then your root take over.
Right, right, right,
Your root take over. Root
right,
said, "Fuck it, I'm in charge.
right, right,
We
right.
gonna do what we gonna do what I say, Dave."
The thing about it is people are not taking serious that you're supposed to master yourself.
Yeah,
You're supposed to master yourself. In order to master yourself, you have to have what? Self-knowledge, knowledge of self.
yeah, you gotta understand what self really is. Not just the self you see, but the unseen self. There's an unseen world. So to deal with the unseen world, you have to buff up the unseen self so it can deal with the unseen world.
Let me
And
ask you a question.
yes,
What percentage of reality is actually physical? What percentage?
probably one.
One, I would say 10%, like at least like 10% of it, because
10%.
like a little bit more. That's we basically kind of saying the same thing. 1%
Mhm,
will equivalent to 10%, right?
mhm.
So like 1% it could be valid too, is what I'm saying.
Yes.
10% is what I'm saying. So the other 90% of reality is the
Hmm.
unseen world.
Yep. Or the other
So
90%.
so this is how important these practices and these understanding of these principles are. You have to understand these principles. We just had a meeting about this today. I mean,
Hmm.
not today, but a couple of days ago, about
Yeah.
how understanding principles of law, right?
Yes.
Because a court, a court is just a component of a legal system, right?
Hmm.
What is the
Yes.
what is the operating program? The principles.
The principles.
They're the operating program. So if you don't know the principles, I mean, damn the system,
Then
right?
yeah, you have
If you
to
don't
know the
understand the principles, and this is why people lose in court all the time, or they're going in there making frivolous arguments because you're not aligning yourself with, like you just said, the ancient world principles,
Hmm.
right? There's supposed to be a constant. There's supposed to be a constant bringing the past to the future and future to the past. There's supposed to be always a reciprocity of that.
Yes. And if you're a
That's
seer now, then
those are
if
the seers, the ones who connect the dots on the ancient world and bring it to the present and make sense in the presence.
yeah, then that means yeah, you're the seer because it has to be balanced on the scale, well, weighed on the scales of my eye. And if your shit is the same thing as what the old shit said, then you in accordance. But if
And
your
guess
shit
what? Guess what?
what?
Judges, Supreme Court judges use this same understanding too.
Mm,
They don't judge by their own. See, they make decisions, but they make decisions based on jurisprudence. They make decisions based on res judicata. Res
mm-hmm.
judicata are stir decisions, like
Okay.
decisions that have already been decided upon in the ancient
Yeah,
world.
in the ancient world.
All of the Supreme Court justices have to follow those principles.
So they go way back.
Hell yeah,
They go way back.
yes they do.
Primordial.
Yes they
Shit.
do.
Damn. So, and he said, once you learn all this shit, you'll be light years ahead of any politician, any professor in any university. The only person that you won't be able to match wits with is a Supreme Court justice.
I mean, at the end of the day, what we're studying in the Moroccan Post,
Mm-hmm.
They ain't gonna be able to fuck with us because we're talking about jurisprudence, which is the philosophy of law, the theory of law,
Mm-hmm.
right? The
Yes.
Supreme Court justice probably understand that, but not at the level from a Morse perspective, though.
No.
From the progenitors' view of all of this knowledge, we are the progenitors of that knowledge.
Yeah, we're we're what they're studying.
Exactly. So it's a little bit more different when we apply the knowledge.
Yeah.
So,
Which is their worst
and that's
nightmare.
exactly why they've weaponized socially engineering us and convincing us that we don't need knowledge or we don't have to study, we don't have to do the due diligence.
You can't blame them.
I mean,
Shit, they want to
if
stay in power.
imagine we had a culture, because right now we have a culture of deprivation, we have a culture of degeneracy, we have a culture of no
Disease,
disease. We got a culture of no not having integrity,
incompetency.
incompetency. So imagine all of that was reversed.
Yeah. You see, all
They
of
could
that
not.
is in their
They
favor.
have to. They have to keep us. This is the voluntary servitude aspect of the. I was just talking to the brother the other day. Integrate segregation did nothing for us, man.
No.
As a matter of fact, it did the total opposite. It destroyed us because
Yeah.
before integration, segregation, we had to do for ourselves, right?
Yeah.
We
Mm-hmm.
own more, right? I broke down
Mm-hmm.
the whole sinister plot because what they did was they got a sector of us to start making the decisions for us as a group just by we're social engineered very easily, man, because we're
Mm-hmm.
so influential, especially at the state we're in now, not back then. But what they did was they kept on hammering it that our best interest is to integrate,
Mm-hmm.
right? They kept hammering it on our people, and they literally did it. Not that everyone was agreeing. A lot of our brothers and sisters was like, "Nah, we already see through this bullshit," right?
Mm-hmm.
Those are the ones that stayed down south and kept their property.
Mm-hmm.
We own a lot of property down south.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what that whole scheme was trying to offset and destabilize that property that we was owning. Now it worked to an extent because there's still some brothers and sisters that stuck with it and stuck with they and didn't sell their property. But a lot of the great migration of brothers and sisters moving out of the South into the North, into California, Chicago, New York.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened? A lot of people sold their property.
Had nothing to go back to.
Nothing to go back to.
And
Some
they
people
were
think they
stuck.
shit because there's stories in New York of New York migrants who moved New York. They've been there for years now. They always
Mm-hmm.
go to down south for the summer,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
So some of our people wasn't stupid enough to fall for the bullshit and was like, "Nah, I'm keeping my stability here. I'll rather
Mm-hmm.
deal with these races here because you got to realize that." I love the dynamics of Texas. What were we in? We was in. I think we was in Houston or was
Mm-hmm.
it Dallas? I think we was in Dallas. No, we was in Dallas, right? The dynamics of it's segregated, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the sense of everybody have their own area, right? This is basically the same here, but it's more integrated here because you got multicultures in the same community here. But
Yeah.
and and this segregated like a motherfucker. There are areas, right, where they say, nigga, you better not be caught over here in this area, or your ass fuck around and end up shot, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
And there's area, but guess what? The cold dynamics about Texas, Dallas, Texas is everybody got a gun and everybody afraid of it popping the fuck off.
Mm-hmm.
Even so-called black folks.
Mm-hmm.
So-called black folks got guns and they ready to pop it off too whenever y'all ready to.
Yep.
And that's what keeps the peace. I swear it
That's
do.
what keeps the
It's
peace.
peace.
That's why they call it the peace.
Right.
Right.
Right. It literally keeps the peace because nobody really want to pop it off.
Because
nobody really want to pop it off, but everybody ready. If we go down, we going down. It's going down. Right.
That's where the whole world is at right now.
Where?
Even okay.
Oh yeah. But Texas ain't no joke though. That's why Texas is no pushover for the federal government. The federal government is not about to push over and try to do what they did to California.
Mm-hmm.
No, Texas is like fuck y'all.
You see that movie Civil War?
Huh?
You see that movie?
I watched it. I mean, that's already going on. It's just not that extent yet.
Yeah, but they got his ass in the end.
That's already going on. That's been going on for years.
Mm-hmm.
But not to that extent. That's why I keep on harping to our people. Like, damn, at that point, are we still going to be this degenerate group? That I mean, at that point,
that's when we're supposed to make our move.
Listen, man, we can't make our move because we're vulnerable as hell ourselves right now.
Yeah, we are.
We have no military stance as a group. Like, they have multiple plans, military plans against us right now. You got Rex 84, Rex 87, and you got Rex 87. You got Executive Order 100.
So they got us surrounded.
That's why they literally set up these cities from which they tricked us into believing this is where we need to be, right? They systematically set up these cities like in a military format. There's only one way in and one way out type of situation. Well, there's multiple ways in, but there's multiple ways in and out, but they have ways to get, you know what I'm saying, control the ins and outs.
Yeah, they know
control the ins and outs.
They know all the zones.
Right.
Yeah, they could just completely lock this motherfucker down.
And to me, we knew about this in the 90s. We knew that they have been attacking our direct community militarily, right? Drugs in the community.
Mm-hmm.
They literally left weapons on the train so that we can kill ourselves. These are actual attacks against us, and we never took heed to it. Like, damn, they're actually. We all know this too. This is what's crazy about it. You will ask the average Negro, and they'll probably act stupid, but they know that we've been under attack for a lot. How they're genetically attacking us with Planned Parenthood, right? Planned Parenthood is an attack against us.
Yeah,
these are military attacks against us, man. But we don't take it like that because they've convinced us that, oh yeah, this is a post racial world. This is a man. Stop.
Oh no, they got us surrounded, dude.
We're vulnerable as fuck as a people. Why? Because we have no unity. We don't even get along with each other, right? To an extent to where if somebody actually wanted to do us harm, we have no strategy. We have no plan. We have no military way of nothing. We vulnerable as fuck. Because this is all part of the plan. They convinced us that our best interest was to integrate in this bullshit, and it left us totally vulnerable.
Yeah.
Now we don't have nothing self-sustainable to ourselves now. So we can actually take it upon our own self if it comes to that. Like, for example, when the COVID happened, we should have been able to say, we're going to make our own decisions over here about this shit. Mm-hmm. We should have been but we can't because we're not organized. We're not even thinking about what I just said at all. We're not thinking about this shit.
We're just going along to get along.
This election, we thinking about more and more people are starting to connect the dots on it, though. More and more people are starting to connect the dots. You feel me?
Yeah, we supposed to be thinking about.
Go ahead.
We supposed to be thinking about reforming our original shit, our original status, the post-millennium process.
Right. Political legitimacy, the restoration of Moorish sovereignty. First, you got to understand Moorish history. There's so much confusion, and this was another attack. Once we start realizing we Moors,
Yes.
they attack the internet and try to put a gang of false information. Now we had already cleaned up all that stuff. People was knowing about this stuff, but now they put so much false information. Now we got to come back and clean this shit up now, right?
Damn.
So it's a
Yeah.
whole campaign of conscious Moors. There's a whole campaign of conscious Moors cleaning up misconceptions because other conscious Moors inundated the whole conscious community, the whole Moorish community with these misconceptions, man. And it's really we at the end
they
of that.
Other conscious
Moors
okay.
who I suspect know better, if you ask me.
They just being disobedient.
And they have an agenda. You got to realize also, not all of them, but a lot of them are just so egotistical that, because I've ran into these brothers, they so egotistical to even go back to the drawing board. They can't. They think they can't just go back to the drawing board and humble themselves and say, damn, I was wrong about our position. Because they can be right about the Constitution, right? And all their knowledge of the Constitution. But once you realize that don't apply to Moors, then you have to go back to the drawing board now, right?
Yeah. So they, oh shit, they too rigid,
right? Because most of our people,
rigid.
Go ahead.
They're rigid. When you become rigid, you just take form, take shape, and stick with that. You become rigid. You can break. You got to be fluid.
And this is exactly what we're teaching, to be all of these states and control all of these different states you can go into with your mind and your soul. These different states that you fluently go into is alchemy. It's alchemy.
And you take shape
because you can't, like you just said, you can't stay rigid, and you know that you have to humble yourself to even get to this next level now.
Yeah.
This is the only reason I've become at the level that because I went through a lot of schools of thinking, right? I was never rigid in the sense of, oh, this is it. No.
Yeah. No.
All of it is it. Think about it. They're just fragments of a greater thing, and y'all just taking it. I seen this years ago, and I was like the only one on this page because everyone was just sticking with their doctrine. They were sticking with their ideology, and I created a show called The Theory of Everything Show on Blog Talk Radio. I was trying to get people to think like the Theory of Everything show, because the Theory of Everything is a Western scientific concept that talks about the unified doctrine, right? And the unified doctrine is basically a theory on how you can bring all of these different theories of the universe and reconcile them. How do they all fit in a unified doctrine? Right?
Yes, because they all have to have the same mother at some point.
Right. So they have some. See, what happens is there are some correlations when you're dealing with a vast tapestry of that nature, right? There's going to be all different type of levels where people some people got to study this, some people got to study. That's another thing. Everybody cannot be studying law. Some people have to study physics. Some people have to study mathematics. Some people have. We can't all be law experts and masters?
Knowledge. Yeah, I mean, goddamn, I wish I can be. It's like 10 of me, and all 10 of us or 100 of us can study all things.
But you can on your own personal time. But what we're doing, everybody must play their position. Whatever you're strong in, you need to
Yeah.
bring that to the table. You can on your own
Hmm.
personal time, of course, go master yourself on master all these different ideologies, man. But
Yes.
we need all hands on deck right now. Whatever expertise you have, you need to bring it to the table
Hmm.
because what we're doing is going to take political unity, bro. And what is political
Yes.
unity? Because it ain't just unity. Political unity is when we have agreed to a way we're going to operate politically as a people. We've agreed how we're going to operate in political. When it comes to
Hmm.
politics, it's economics and how the law works and protects us, right? It's economics and how the laws protects us. How
Hmm.
we create instruments of power to protect us under the principles of law, right? So
Yes.
what we're doing is political unity will get us all on the same political page. That's what we're messing up. Because remember, you just talked about the seership, right? And then
Yes.
we when we came back into the fact that the seership has a political implication to it.
Yes, it did.
Right.
Because the kings, the monarchs, they used the seers to
He
help
was
them.
higher than the sovereigns, really. The seer was
Yeah,
higher than the sovereign because the sovereign would get advice from the seer.
from the seer. Yeah. Now, if the seer lost his connection with the divine, then they had no choice but to kill him. They
Well,
didn't
some
leave
that
him
happens. That happens sometimes.
alone. Yeah. That would be because the seer let his ego get in the way. And when you do that, the great mother, she'll teach you a lesson.
See, what happens is the seer can he has a big threshold to become corrupt, right?
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
that's what makes you a seer. The fact that you have a big threshold because you have that much power over nations. The Treaty of Verona. The Treaty of
Hmm.
Verona is a treaty between the Pope and Britain and some other European nations, right?
Hmm.
And basically, they gave him seership over. He gave the Pope was seership over all of Europe at that point.
Yeah, he's the seer. Okay, so you have Muhammad. He's the last. He claimed himself as the seer, but that was taken from him. And the Pope is the seer. So you have these two false seers
Right,
preaching or proclaiming their doctrines unto the world, and disconnecting themselves from the ancient and putting themselves up higher than them, then putting themselves up high and ruling humanity and raising a civilization up through that doctrine.
right. But it's military in the nature too, because you remember the Intercatera Divina, right?
Hmm.
And Islam proclaimed a military strategy to
Hmm.
convert
Hmm.
people. All of these
They
religions
both
had,
did.
I would say, all of these religions are very insecure about the doctrine that they created and its ability to get found out they are really so they are militarily converting people militarily. The
Forcefully.
missions. See, people don't look at the mission. And the crazy part about it is this history is it's still active because you can go to San Diego, right?
Hmm.
you go to San Diego, all of those missions are still up to this day, right? And we got to understand what the mission is. The missions were a part of the military. They would bring the missionaries in to see engage the people, right? To see to find out their gods and all that. Once they find out, because what they do is they don't see we're under the impression that they really believe in that, and some of them do, but the people in power, no, they gave y'all something to y'all to hold on to and have this deep desire for, that you would actually kill people to fucking convert them, thinking you're righteous and they're not righteous. They're savages, so we have the right to kill them.
Yeah, I give you the right to do that. Yeah,
Right.
That's what because that's incredible.
Our God, this is the political implications of it. Because God can ordain a group of people as sinful. They did it in Canaanite. They justify. I was talking to the brother the other day who kept on trying to hit me with the Hebrew Israelite stuff. And I'm like, okay, so doesn't it seem weird that your God ordered y'all to kill the Israelites? And at the same time, he's saying, don't kill, be peaceful, be loving, and all, until I order you to go kill. Now, think about that. Is that a divine being? Is that a human?
That sound like some people work for. That's like the government.
Exactly. What the hell y'all talking about?
Like the American government.
And how do y'all justify that, trying to act like God is all loving, God is all this and all? Because that's what he was leading with at first. And I was like, how do you justify God ordering the Hebrew Israelites to kill all because they were practicing, this was his excuse. Oh, they were practicing child sacrifice. From your opinion, y'all don't know what the fuck they was doing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You were not part of culture, y'all. And this is what I noticed about all these different religions, right? Mm-hmm. They always attribute a character to another group so that they can justify doing what they do to that group.
That's no different than the American government.
Right. Oh, what they did with us, right? How they did so-called black folks, right? Oh, they're criminals. Whenever they mention criminals, they're criminals on national TV, they're talking about us.
Yes.
They know that the militia groups of the world, these white supremacist groups, right? Those are key words. That motherfucker Trump be using those keywords all the goddamn time. Well, he don't directly implicate us, but he got code words that they all are. The whole "Make America Great Again" is like, let's bring these natives and these Negroes back under our control again. That's
the only way I see it.
What else does that shit mean?
What else does
that shit mean?
Yeah, shit.
Oh, they waking up. They waking up and realizing that we're colonizers and we're foreigners here. We have no power politically here, actually. So what? Because think about the implications of this. Once we start learning our real status on a mass level, we're gonna start questioning them now. Like, no, how do y'all have power to govern over us when y'all foreigners? Y'all don't even have the right to even govern. Y'all only have the right to govern over your political entity that was given the right to operate over here according to treaties. Once people get this, we're going to start putting them in their place, and opposed to them always putting us in our place, man. Get your last words in. We got to go, brother.
Man, shit, my last words. My last words is, man, Thank you, Moroccan Post. Thank you, all the people that are working hard to help bring us together to get our shit back in order, to get us back a people again, recognized in uh, the family of nations and international law. It's about time we wake the fuck up and resume our original role. I mean, we we got to be sick and tired of being sick and tired of the same old bullshit that we've been going through here for 400 years. So we're gonna have to go back before those 400 years and what the fuck we were and reestablish that again through this post millennium process. And then you know, it'll be a different story. And of course, I believe we're going to have a lot of enemies, and they'll probably bring war against us, but they're bringing war against the people that are connected to the ethers in this universe. That might not be a good idea, especially when we know who the fuck we are, and we're not the same motherfuckers that we were under their jurisdiction. But in our jurisdiction, they fuck with us, it's totally different. They're fucking with us and the Great Mother. And they will have hell to pay. They already have hell to pay. But as we move in the direction that we're supposed to move into, and I believe they fuck with us, there's going to be consequences, immediate consequences for that, because this is ordained. This is a spiritual war. So they can come against us with all the physical shit, but you can rest assured there's a spiritual army that's aiming at them as well. And when the word is given to go, there's nothing in the world that they'll be able to do to stop this. There's nothing they'll be able to do. Their technology will not be able to help them. Their technology will not work. And at that point, they will be ripped completely apart. The intruders will be taken off the land. One way or the other, the intruders will be taken off this land. That's what I have to say. Those are my last words.
Good looking out, brother.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we need to really focus on us getting out of the inferiority complex and giving what we're calling so-called white people when we're the actual white people over here. We keep on giving them power, saying they did this and they did that. Guess what? That gives them power. When you say, you get to the point where you say, we allowed them to do this. We allowed them to do this to us. This is changing your mind. We allowed them to put drugs in the community and actually fall for it and start promoting and creating a deprivation situation amongst our people. We allowed them to continue to attack us with their legal system. We allowed this. We allowed them to continue to let their police violate our human rights. We allowed them. I want to change the mantra, man. I want to change the mantra.
Yeah.
We allowed
I'm with
them.
you on that one, man. We allowed them.
And we need to get to the point when we recognize that we allowed them to do everything they doing to us to this day, that we can really have the power to stop allowing that to happen.
Yes, that means
First,
we
you got to
have the power.
recognize, you got to stop saying they did this, they did that. It's like they got some damn power to do anything. They ain't did shit.
No, we gave them the power. We allowed them to do. We allowed them power. We allowed them the appearance of power. And yes, they've gone amok with it, but this is a spiritual war. And it's not us down here with them, it's them down here with us.
Man, we need to change the mantra.
They're in here with us.
We need to reverse the polarity of the thought process. We need to reverse the polarity. We have the power. That's the real power that we actually have. We can reverse the polarity. We can reverse the spell. We can reverse just by doing what I just said. We allowed them to do this to us. You just changed the spell. You just changed the mantra.
And they're no longer allowed. We no longer allow them.
That's how powerful we are. Just your words alone is so powerful. Your affirmations you tell yourself, powerful on your life, implications on your life. I showed you that. It's implications on your life. Out your mouth. Whatever you're saying out your mouth is going to manifest.
Yeah, we no longer allow ourselves to allow them to do what they do. First, we no longer allow ourselves to allow this.
Exactly. It's very simple.
Yeah.
It ain't rocket science.
Yeah, we no longer allow ourselves to be victims to something that's inferior to us.
Woo, that's a good one. That's a good one. We gotta come up with more affirmations. You know what I'm saying? I'm tired of hearing say, "Oh, they did this." Oh, because they won't allow us to do this. We can't. Like I was talking to the brother the other day. They said they need to make a who was they, motherfucker? They need to make a movie about this. They need to make a movie. Why? Because we have assumed that they have all the power, and we gotta ask them to share some of the power with us. We gotta ask them. This is the mentality of most of our people. We gotta ask them to share some so I can get some of my ideas off. No, that's not what's happening.
Guess what? Before Martin Luther King,
that's not what's happening here. That's far from what's actually happening here. They've convinced you that that's what's happening. Now they gotta recognize. We gotta recognize how powerful we are, because whenever they convince us of something, that shit manifests really.
So now we should have two generations: the generation before Martin Luther King and the generation after Martin Luther King. What was the generation before Martin Luther King? We didn't have to ask them for shit. We did our own shit. We had our own shit.
Right.
Imagine that generation today. Yeah. Prior, like we were saying earlier. Okay.
Right. We
after
had to
King and before King.
We had to, because we didn't have the so-called privilege of being integrated. And the thing about it is, y'all need to do your research. I'm tired of you Negroes trying to act like you know what the hell is going on here. Have you studied the Civil Rights Act? Have you studied the Voters' Rights Act? None of y'all studied that shit. Because how are y'all so under the illusion of inclusion because of those two legislations? Think about what I just said. How are so many Negroes under the illusion of inclusion because of those two legislations? And after affirmative action. Now y'all believe y'all are part of the system now. Do you? Okay, so let's study this right quick. That legislation was quasi at most as it pertained to its legal effect, right? because it was not
Mm-hmm.
an amendment of the Constitution. The Voters' Right Act has to be voted in. Every president that comes in has to re-vote it in, have to re-sign it to be. So these weak ass legislations is what y'all believe y'all included now and under. The affirmative action applied to
Oh
all
shit.
minorities, and you better go study what a minority is. Y'all don't know nothing. Y'all don't know nothing, and y'all operating from not knowing a goddamn thing, and that's the problem. Y'all don't know a damn thing. You ain't even studied what a minority is yet. It ain't what you think it is. We gotta go, bro. I'll see you next week, man.
Okay, man.